Okay, first of all, I apologize for my hair. I just took a shower, but I wanted to do this before I went to class. So, rally. We started out at the Dieppe Memorial, which is this war memorial by the beach, and there were 6 teams of 4, and there was this pile of 22 balls of yarn, and half of them had clues inside. And so you had to unravel it to the center while someone else raveled it back up, because you had to give the ball of yarn back. So everyone was getting it on their first try. And our team, Rick was the first one to find one of them in the bushes. And he brought it back, and there was nothing in it. And people started bringing them back. Everyone was leaving. One team got a blank one at first as well, but they got it on their second one. We were there until our 5th ball of yarn. We finally got it. I'm the raveler. I'm raveling up 5 balls of yarn as fast as I can, while Alice, my sister, is unraveling them all as fast as she can. So from the memorial, we went to Splitsville up on the mountain. And of course, every clue was just cryptic directions, and we didn't know where we were going until we got there. So we got to Splitsville last. We're in 6th place, and they had 1 lane reserved. And you chose 2 people, and you had to keep taking turns bowling until you got 2 strikes total. So, but if you didn't get it on your first throw, you still had to do your second throw, even though you couldn't get anything out of it, even if you knocked them all down. So we got there, and the first team had bowled an entire 10 frames and didn't get anything, and they actually didn't get both their strikes until after 44 frames. So it took them 4.5 games. And after that, average of maybe 20 frames, and then the 5th team went, they got it pretty fast, and they got out of there, and we got ours in 5 frames and got out of there. And of course, me and Alice, we're not the bowlers, it was Rick and Rick's dad, so we're just sitting around doing nothing for about an hour and a half. I think we were at that bowling alley almost, with this poor worker who had to monitor everything and make sure that no one was cheating. So we left there, and then we went to, how come I can't remember now? We went to a cemetery. So again, we didn't know where we were going till we got there. And Rick's Uncle Paul was there waiting for us, and he gave us a clue, and we had to go into the headstones and find a certain name. And I found what we were looking for right away, and I'm like, it's this. And everyone's like, no, this says something about a lion. And I'm like, well, I know, but it's this. So then we went around, and Alice noticed something that turned out to just be a coincidence. But we ran back and gave them the name, and he's like, no. So we went back, and I'm like, guys, it's this. And they're like, no, it's not. So they're like, oh, okay, why don't you go tell Paul that, and then we'll keep looking, because they don't believe me. But I went and told Paul, and I've been right the whole time. And so then we left, and he gave us our next clue, and we saw there was still 1 left. So we had beaten someone there, and it turned out the team of old people, there was Jessie's grandma and her boyfriend, I don't know, Ted, and 2 other really elderly people. That was the other team. Turns out they didn't understand, and they were looking for Paul on the side of the road, and they went all the way to Ancaster before they finally called Rick's mom. The jig is up, his name is Jessie. And finally she's like, you're going to a cemetery. Anyway, so then after that, we went to the Terryberry Library, and we had to go ask the librarian for the Da Vinci Code. She had 6 copies for us, and then there was papers inside, and we had to solve this code, and it took us a long time, but it turned out there was sets of 4 numbers, like a list, 4 numbers, and it turned out to go chapter, page, paragraph, word, and it spelled out this message, and it was to go tell the librarian the eagle has landed, and she'll give us our next clue. So we sent Alice in, and she was pushing past all these kids to go tell. And from there, we went to the mall, Limeridge Mall. Everything was on the mountain, I don't know why. So we went to Limeridge Mall, and we're looking for a store that had the same name as a group from the book. That's all we knew. So both Rick and Rick's dad had already read the Da Vinci Code, and so we just went straight to the directory to try and see if something popped out. And I saw that there was, they had said that it was either priori, something with an S, or Illuminati, but they said that was from Angels and Demons, so it probably wasn't that. But I saw that there was an Illuminata eyeglasses store. So booted it up to the second floor. We went into there, and the the woman working there was quite frightened because we were running around. And so we were right outside the store, we saw another team. So we're like, yeah, hi guys, you know, obviously they just came from there. But when we went in, we asked what place we were in, and she said we were the first team to get there. So it was just a coincidence that the other team was out there. So we had to run so fast away from there before they looked in and saw that we were in there. And we ended up running into another team, and we had to pretend like we were still looking for things. So we left there, and I actually got a video that I might post of us from the directory up to when we read the clue that the lady gave us, and it was less than 4 minutes, and other people were saying they were there for at least an hour. That was pretty good. So now we're in first, and from there we went to a driving range, I think Eagle something. That was part of it. It was, all we knew was it was going to be a word from the rally, so it was Eagle. And so Alice and I had to get a shot in 2 strokes. So there were these 2 holes that were somewhat close to each other, and one person had to try and get it as close as they could, and then the second person would tap it in, and then we would switch. So if you got a hole in one, it didn't count, and it had to be exactly 2. So that took about 10 minutes maybe, and Rick's mom was there, and she said no one else had been there yet. So then we just had to go to the finish line, but we had to stop by some church and get some information, I don't know. But so yeah, we got to the finish line and we won. It was so exciting. We were 15 minutes ahead of the team in second place and an hour and 1 minute ahead of the team in last place. And yeah, it was so incredibly exciting to win. Some people probably thought it was rigged since it was Rick's mom and her husband and and her son, and then, you know, me and Alice were the winning team, but that's okay. Yeah, I can't even believe it was unbelievably fun. I recommend it to anyone, definitely. Not really sure what else to say. Oh, in total it took 4 hours and a bit for us to do this whole thing. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous, and apparently somebody solved the code at the library, and another team like tried to steal their paper to see what the code was, and so then they started wrestling, but they were inside the library because they were cheating, and you were supposed to go outside, but they stayed inside where the air conditioning was, and then I think they got banned from that library. They weren't allowed to come back. Yeah, it was pretty fun. So yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say, but it was a great time. I can't believe we won. Last year, my team was the winner. Me and Rick's dad were on the same team, but we had Rick's grandma and Rick's uncle and someone else, I think. And we just were terrible. We ended up at the library when we were supposed to be at Dieppe. So we were just totally off on that one. But that was last year. Anyway, yeah, it was a great time, and we won. Yay!